Let us begin. You were talking on Tuesday after the game about 5 of your 8 changes were probably enforced due to fitness or injury. How acute is this situation in terms of players having to be managed at the very best and potentially being injured? And given what happened last season, is it a red flag immediately week 1?
Not really, no. I mean, we have to try and, do what's in our powers to protect the older players, certainly. And if you take Seamus, for example, Seamus probably only broke down last year because of the workload that he had. And that was due to the cup run that we had. So then the game's getting called off. And then, we had to play a lot of games in a short space of time. And I just think, his body wasn't capable of doing that. Probably most people's body wouldn't be capable of doing that at that age. So we're mindful of that, and we're mindful of we don't want to repeat that process. The only real concern is Louis Shipley. Unbelievable debut, and then last minute he turns his ankle going up for the header. So he's going to be a long termer. He's gone back to Norwich for treatment, and we'll be lucky if we see him within 8 weeks. So that's a big blow for us. But Kelvin has responded to treatments, and we're hopeful he'll be fit for Saturday. Sean was another one who we didn't want to 2 games in a short space of time. And so we've got a Jay Rich coming back from being out for so long and playing 100 and whatever minutes he had to play, 110 minutes was it? So, we don't want to cause problems for ourselves if we can manage them, and so we're trying to manage the situation.
Just on Shipley, you've been quite clear you've got to get the loans right this season, and there isn't really any margin for error. To lose him for 8 weeks after 1 appearance, that must be a real blow.
Sickening. And, that's one that we were confident that we had got right. So, we'll move on. We maybe bring in a replacement, but we'll monitor that as the days go on.
I think you had 3 different players play left back in the cup tie on Tuesday night. Does that show that you've got a range of options there, or does that perhaps show that you're seeking an option there?
We have got a range of options, but we haven't got a recognised left back. We haven't got a recognised left footer. Ross has played there before, but he's not really a left back. And so we'll address that in the coming weeks.
Just on managing them, particularly those older players you talked about. You talked before the game on Tuesday about evolving, always learning, always trying to take something new. Is that something you've taken from the experience of last season and losing so many, and maybe them being expedited back as quickly as possible and having setbacks?
Well, I think so. I think if you look over the years, have we ever made that many changes for the League Cup tie? The second game of the season? No, we haven't, I don't think. And that's not devaluing the cup by any means. That's the imagination. How desperate I am to win every game. But what I don't want is to have the situation I had last year where we lose 5 or 6 of the starting 11, and then we're bringing in youngsters who aren't really ready. So we've got to try and get away from that.
Does it make you cautious to the point sometimes of maybe even superstitious with the old injuries thing?
No, I don't think you can ever be superstitious about injuries. That I really then should have me joke of touch wood, but there was no wood here. No, you can't get to that stage, and football injuries are just, they're an occupational hazard. There's something that can happen when you least expect it. You can't pinpoint who's going to get injured. You can be your best player, your worst player, a player who plays all the time, player who very rarely plays. And I think if you look back at Liverpool when they had that horrendous run, and they were all they were all position specific. And we had that a little bit last year with defenders and strikers. So you can't. What you can do is you can give yourself your best chance by getting them into optimum condition. and then by managing the minutes, I think, with the older players. Don't forget, I think you alluded to this the other day, we've got a very young team, and they're all chomping at the bit to play, so I think that's a good thing.
Just finally on the injury point, Joe Pritchard's recovery continues. I know he was hoping to be running and doing some work out there in the sunshine kind of around this stage of the season. How's he going, and how far are you away from factoring him into your plans?
We're delighted with Joe at the moment. I think he's delighted with how it's going. And I think he's probably got himself a couple of weeks ahead of schedule, which is good. And I think he's scheduled to go into St George's Park the end of the month. And when he comes back from that, I think he won't be far away from joining in first team training, which then just getting him up to speed, and he'll be a big lift for us.
Long trip this weekend. It's part of the job, isn't it? Making those preparations and going all that distance. When you've got quite a lot of younger players who've maybe been on the under-23s here or in an under-21 setup elsewhere, do you think that's a culture shock for them sometimes, sitting on the coach for 6-7 hours going to Gillingham?
Well, they'll have, the clubs that they've been at, they'll have been going all here, there and everywhere anyway, but no, it's just, it'll be a chance to bond a little bit more, I think, to get to know the peers, and hopefully we might have an hour where we go phone free, so they're not engrossed in their earphones, and get a bit of the old-fashioned human interaction.
Is that something that you're keen on? I know you like to have a quiz in the hotel, for example.
Yeah, we do like to do different things to break up the monotony of it. But it's something I might explore this time around, and might have a phone-free hour.
Is that something that's very prevalent amongst the generation of young people that you're working with now?
Yeah, yeah. It's part and parcel of advancement in technology, isn't it? I suppose in 100 years they won't even need to speak, they'll just be able to think it, and people will be able to read people's thoughts.
As far as the game is concerned, both teams won on the opening day in the league. How much of a milestone is that when you get the first victory? Is it a bit of a weight off the shoulders? Does it give a bit of freedom? 100%
it is. You don't want to go too long. I think I don't know what it was last year, but I think we got a win in the second week, was it, against Shrewsbury. You just want to get a good start. You just want to get yourselves in a position where after 5 or 10 games you're at the pleasant end of the table, and you can start to see how other teams are settling down, and see how your players are bedding in. I think a lot of squads will change before the end of the window. I think there'll be 2 or 3 coming into most teams. So we've just, as I said, we've got to get it right with our recruitment. I held my hands up last year. I don't think I did get it right. And that's no disrespect to the players who signed. I just think because of the injury situation, we didn't have enough ready-made ones, really. And that was the problem that we had. And you're always going to encounter that when you haven't got 15,000 coming through your home turnstiles.
Do you think it can set the tone? You said 5-10 games there, be at the interesting end of the table where you want to be. If you are there, is it almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that you feel like you're challenging and you should be up there? I
think the players feel it. The players feed off success. And, I was pleased with certain facets of the performance on Tuesday, considering we made so many changes. And we've just got to try and keep working all the while to get stronger, and little improvements, which you see. And Seb came on for the cameo on Saturday, and then I thought turned in an outstanding performance. So that's a pleasing thing straight away. He gives us another option.